let's turn this into this tasty burger. Vegan food that tastes like real meat. Now that should be illegal. Now, it may not be real pulled pork, but it keeps fooling a lot of my carnivore mates. I'm going to show you 4 easy steps to making the best vegan pulled pork. So just sit right back, grab a drink or two, and let's get into it. We know we need some pork for this recipe. Wrong, we need jackfruit. Young jackfruit, to be precise. You can find this at your local supermarket, usually hiding down the health food aisle. Yes, that is a thing. Healthy food. And the prep couldn't be any easier. Step 1 is shredding the jackfruit. Just grab a can and grab the ring pull, peel the lid off, put the jackfruit into a strainer and allow the fluid to drain off. And then add the jackfruit to a foil container. It's time to put on some gloves because I'm not a grot. And we're just going to start shredding the jackfruit and removing these soft seeds as we go because they just don't have the right texture, mainly because they don't have the same sort of texture as pulled pork. Now, removing the seeds is personal preference. That's how many seeds I got out of 5 cans, and we're left with this, which is the young jackfruit, which has more of a texture like pulled pork. So once you've shredded all your jackfruit, just pop it aside. Step 2 is making the rub. Into a bowl, we want to put 4 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 3 teaspoons of brown sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of salt flakes, 1 teaspoon of finely ground black pepper, half a teaspoon of ground cumin, half a teaspoon of mustard powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Mix it up, then throw it on the jackfruit, and then mix it through thoroughly. That's already starting to look like pulled pork. Now, jackfruit will take on any flavour you put on it. So I do not recommend putting peas on it because I don't like peas. Step 3 is how to set up your barbecue correctly. And today I'm going to be using a 57cm Weber kettle, and I'm going to be utilising the snake method because I want to be smoking at temps of around 120 degrees Celsius today. Now how I'll do that is by carefully stacking briquettes into the Weber to form the snake. Now take your time building the snake because the neater it is, the more evenly it's going to burn. And then I'll add 12 briquettes to a chimney starter. I'll light them up, and once they're fully ashed over, I'll add them to one end of the snake to act as a fuse. I'll add some apple wood chunks to add some extra smoky flavour, placing one right next to our lit fuel, and the others we're going to space them out with 50mm gap in between each piece because wood burns faster than charcoal briquettes. I'll carefully put the grill back in place, adding an ambient temp probe to track our temp. Pop the lid on, making sure all the vents are wide open and our vent is on the opposite side of our lit fuel. And I'll keep an eye on the temp, and once we get around 30 degrees Celsius off our target temp of 120 degrees Celsius, I will start closing down the bowl vent. Now, if you don't own a Weber kettle, any hooded barbecue will do the same job. Just follow my times and temps. The barbecue is ready and waiting. So just place the tray of jackfruit into it on the opposite side of the lit fuel. Put the lid back on, making sure that lid vent is over our food. That's going to help draw the smoke and the heat over it. And trust me, it needs all the help it can get. I mean, I can hardly wait to taste this plant-based fake pulled pork. We're going to leave that alone for 30 minutes. While the jackfruit is taking on some smoke and absorbing all that rub flavour, we can go ahead and make our vegan barbecue sauce. Into a small saucepan, add 1 cup of ketchup, 1 cup of apple juice, 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 4 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 3 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of finely ground black pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And place this over a low to medium heat for around 15 minutes. And we're going to stir it constantly. We just want the sugars to all melt and we want it to thicken up. The jackfruit's been smoking away for 30 minutes now. So it's time to get it out, and we're just going to toss it around a bit. And how good is that already looking? And we're just going to shove that back in the barbecue making sure that lid vent is directly over our food. Give it another 30 minutes. Step 4 is adding our vegan barbecue sauce. That's an hour smoking. It's time to drag the jackfruit out. Check it out, it's looking pretty good and smelling just as good. And now we can add the barbecue sauce. And I tend to add around 1/4 cup for every 400 gram can of jackfruit. But since we removed about a can's worth of seeds, it's really only 4 cans. So I'm gonna add 1 cup. Oh yeah, look at that. Take it all. Smucked! Just mix that through thoroughly. Pop this back in the barbecue for a further 20 minutes. 20 minutes will be more than enough time for that sauce to get all sticky, and the jackfruit is going to absorb all that moisture to keep it moist. Today I'm smoking with a temp of 120 degrees Celsius, and all up this cook's going to take around about 1 hour and 20 minutes, or for those of you who love to use my beer timer, you're looking at a 3 beer cook. Cheers! After 20 minutes, that barbecue sauce is going to be nice and sticky. So drag out the jackfruit and we're just going to add it to our favourite pulled pork recipe. Today it's going on some burgers, and you can safely say you made a fully vegan meal. It tastes that good, it's going to trick even your most hardcore carnivore mates. Get that into you.